Mhm. Hello, my people. Hello, people. How are you doing? Hope you're doing great and beautiful wherever you are. Thank you for being part of what you're doing. Please do join us so we can have a great time. I'm looking at a very wonderful topic. Before we go into what we have for today, my name is Nathan. On this channel, I discuss on wellness tips. I also talk about healthy lifestyle tips, and I also talk about family related information. So they will be looking at how to raise a happy, successful, and cooperative child. Hope you can hear me from wherever you are. Looking at how to raise a happy, successful, and cooperative child. So thank you for making our time to join today's stream and be part of what we're doing. We're hoping that a lot of our friends will join us. We're waiting to have people join us so that we can continue. We seem to have some people join us so we can continue. Have someone join us. Thank you. Have done join us. Thank you so much. So have a good afternoon there. I hope to learn something great from today's class. You surely will. You're going to be having great fun. Going to be learning something great, something beautiful from today's class. We said we're going to be looking at how to raise Okay. Thank you to everyone joining us. Hope you're having a great time. You can also come along to learn new things, to also make new friends, connect with people who you've not connected with before. Okay, let's start with what we have for today. So we're going to be discussing how to raise a happy, successful, and cooperative child. As parents, we have the obligation, the duty to raise children who will always be happy, who will end up being successful, and who will in the time being cooperate with us to make the work easy for us. So we're going to be looking at a lot of things that we can do to make this great work easy for us. First of all, we must know that every child is unique. Every child is different. If you're opportunity to have one or two children, you will notice that amongst these children there are great differences. There is a uniqueness. There's something that differs, that makes one different and super different from another. It could be the character difference, could be the way the one expresses it herself. A lot of things can contribute. Okay, not really about facial descriptions or appearance. A lot of things bring about uniqueness in human beings. So, and during the course of raising children, kids tend to pass out information to parents through different means, through different ways. A lot of ways that children pass information to communicate with their parents. So it is left for you to discover how best your child communicates to you and with you, so you can pay attention to what he or she is saying and learn from this. Okay, we're going to be looking at different ways. The first thing is to know how your child communicates with you. Start to learn the personality of this child. How does he or she communicate to you? Is it through complaints, through descriptions, through storytelling, through drawings, through facial expressions? How does your child communicate to you? How does your child pass information across to you? Hope you can hear me from wherever you are. So, how does your child communicate with you? Okay, because children tend to express their challenges, their ideas, their thoughts through different ways, through different patterns. Now, after identifying the way your child communicates to you, the next thing to do is to identify your child's true nature. This is where the whole task is. This is where the whole thing lies. You must be able to identify the nature of your child. Or how does this child see the world? How does this child express his or her ideas, her challenges, his challenges, so that I can be able to be part of his or her life and help him or her out. Okay, the first group of children that we have today is the class I call fun loving. This is the group of children, okay, that want to be everywhere at the same time. They love to enjoy what is going on. You must also ensure that you assist this child to be able to be the best that he or she can. Now, how does the fun-loving children, how do they connect to the world? They connect socially to the world. They are social. They express themselves wherever they are. They are not the ones that hide in gatherings. You see them being outspoken. They are called extroverts. They're not introverts. They talk, express their thoughts, their ideas, their challenges freely, and hope to get good responses from us parents. Now, the way they connect is that they love to be social. You are supposed to encourage this. You're not supposed to beat this down. You're supposed to make this silent. You're not supposed to kill this urge, this idea. Now, what is their primary movement? If you have a fun-loving child, a child that wants to be happy, wants to be with you, wants to make friends with you, wants to have one-on-one time with you, how do you see the movement? Child is bouncy and random. This child is always excited, always moving up, bouncing up and down, always random beat everywhere at a particular time. This child is seen to be energetic, happy, easily expressing what he or she wants. Remember that the child connects to the world socially and is an extrovert. Excuse me. Thank you for joining us. From wherever you are, I hope that you comment to make this section very lively and so interactive so that we can have fun together. Now, after being bouncy, what is the primary need of a fun-loving child? The primary need of a fun-loving child wants to have fun all the time. The child wants to have the parents happy. Doesn't want grumbling parents, doesn't want parents that are always unhappy, don't want parents that are harsh or cruel. The child wants parents who are always happy, who are always excited, who wants to have fun together with his or her friends. How do you describe this kind of children? They are always friendly, they are always bright, they are always light-hearted. These children, we're looking at you discovering you as a parent, as a guardian, as a teacher, as whatever role you play in the life of the children, being able to identify the true nature of your children, of the kids in your custody, under your care, so that you can be able to help them grow into successful, happy, and cooperative adults. Now, these children who are fun-loving, they are social, they are bouncy, they are random. Okay, they love to have fun and they love to make friends with their parents, with their guidance, with the teachers. They are described as being friendly. They are described as being bright and light-hearted. Okay, they are judged as being fighting. They fight or they go for whatever they want until they have this thing done. They fight for what they want until they have it done. Okay, how else do you judge these children? Judge them as being hyperactive. So people say that these kids are hyperactive, they are overactive, they are always happy and active, they are not dull ones. They are also thought and judged as being unreliable. Meanwhile, this could be someone from afar who has not really been close to them, judging them, not really knowing the true nature of these children. Okay, now after we've looked at the sense of the fun-loving children, now let's look at the sensitive. We're looking at you discovering the true nature of your child, knowing the exact nature of your child, so you can be able to play a vital role in helping this child, nurturing this child, so that the child grows into a happy, successful, and cooperative adult. Now, there are children who are fun-loving. They love to have fun, love to be out there, have an adventure, discovering new things, being excited about nature, meeting new people, making friends, being happy. There are children who are sensitive. They sense when there's joy in the home. They sense when there's unhappiness. They sense when there's worry. They know when to keep quiet, when to talk. They know when things are going the way they should. They know when things are not going the way they should. You must discover your child. You must discover this child under your care. There are children who are also determined. They are so determined. They are so focused. Okay, you may think that these children don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they all know what they are doing. Just as they cannot really express themselves the way they should as adults. You must know if your child is fun-loving, if your child is determined, if your child is sensitive. You should also know if you have a more serious child. The first thing to do is to know how your child communicates to you, and at which you be able to identify the true nature of your child. If you are able to identify the true nature of your child, you can be able to connect with this child. You can be able to groom this child, to make this child grow into a happy, cooperative, and successful adult. We've looked at the happy, fun-loving children, how to identify them, how they are judged, how they move, what they love. Okay, now let's look at the sensitive children. Now, how does the sensitive child connect to the world emotionally? The sensitive child is always emotional, always feeling either happy, either sad, either left alone, either judged, either quiet. This child is always full of emotion. This is how this child connects to the world emotionally. If things are happening around her that make up or constitute or lead to happiness, the child is happy. If things are happening around him or her that desires that everyone should be quiet, the child is quiet. If things are happening around him or her that desires that everyone is unhappy, the child also takes on the emotional state of unhappiness. This is the character, this is the state of your child. You must be able to identify the true nature of your child so you can be able to help this child grow, come into this child's life and be part of this child's growth, be able to nurture this child mentally and help the child grow into healthy, successful, and cooperative adult. Now, if you have a sensitive child who is always emotional, how does this child move? This child is subtle. This child is wise. This child is brave. He knows when to move, when not to move. He knows what is best to do at every time. Now, how else does this child move? The child is thoughtful. The child calculates every attempt that he or she makes. The child is not dull. The child knows what he or she is doing. You must be able to identify your child so you do not begin to compare and say the wrong things in your comparison to this child. Look at your siblings, look at your friends, your classmates, look at the way they are behaving, look at the way they're doing. You are too dull for my liking, you are this, you are that. These are wrong words. You've not discovered the true nature of this child. You've not discovered who exactly this child is, what the child loves, how the child decides to live his or her life because of the nature. You must discover, is this child sensitive? Is this child fun-loving? Is this child more serious? Or is this child determined? So if you have a sensitive child, this child is always emotional. This is how the child connects to the world around him or her. The child is always subtle in movement and thoughtful, calculates whatever he or she is doing or wants to do to ensure that everything is okay and alright. Doesn't want to make mistakes that would annoy the next person, that will annoy you or the friends or the siblings or the people around him or her. Now, what is the primary need of a sensitive child? What does a sensitive child need? The first need of a sensitive child, that the child wants the feelings to be heard. The feelings that he or she communicates to you in the best way that he or she can, through words, through facial expressions, through drawings, through talking, tantrums, complaints. This child wants those feelings to be heard and to be put into considerations, to be analyzed, wants solutions to come from what he or she is putting on the table. The child wants to connect to the family. These are the primary needs of a sensitive child. You must know what this child needs. You must know how the child connects to the world. You must know how the child moves. You must also know how the child is judged so you can be able to make this child live the best that he or she can. Help this child connect properly to the world. Excuse me. While we are still at it, we are hoping to have more of our friends join us so that we all can have fun together. We all can enjoy what we are doing together. Okay? Okay. All right. Now let's go on. Talk at the connection of a sensitive child. The child is always emotional. Also talk about the primary movement. Child is subtle and thoughtful. So talk about the primary need. Child wants the feelings to be heard. Child also wants to connect to the family. Wants the family to always be together, united. Wants to have one-on-one time with the parents. Do not want that, the mom is always there, and wants things to be balanced in the family. Okay. Okay, now that we've looked at the primary need, let's look at how the child is described. A sensitive child is always described as being gentle, as being tender. Okay, the child is say this child is always gentle. I love the nature of this your child. He or she is always gentle. He or she is always tender, also caring, so tender-hearted, so loving, so mindful. These are all indications that your child is a sensitive one. You must know the nature of the child, to know the way the child connects to the world, the primary needs, the movement, how the child is judged and described. So you can be able to connect. If you do not know these things, you'll be treating the child wrongly, you'll be doing the wrong things, you'll be, putting the wrong effort towards the child, and you may be able to end up complaining that things are not moving the way it should, not knowing that you are the one who is not doing what you should at the moment. So you must know that the child who is sensitive is also described as being gentle, as being tender-hearted, always mindful, always considerate. What is going to happen? What is going to be the outcome of this? How are people going to feel if I do this? How is she going to feel? Always being, empathetic, thinking, thoughtful, mindful, tender-hearted, loving of the friends, of the well-wishers, people around. How am I going to, do this thing so it's going to be pleasing to mom, pleasing to dad, my friends, my siblings, These are all habits, characteristics of children that are sensitive. Remember that every child has his or her own attribute. The child can either be fun-loving, the child can either be sensitive, the child can either be determined, or the more serious child. You must listen carefully to what we have for today to learn the true nature of your child, know how to be part of the child, nurture this child emotionally, mentally, socially, and otherwise, so the child can grow into a healthy, happy, successful adult. Now, how is a sensitive child judged? Sensitive child is judged as being shy. This your child is not bold enough. He's always shying away from gathering where he or she will be seen, social gatherings, places that he or she needs to speak up, doesn't want to be seen in public places, doesn't want to be seen around others, is always shy, always wimpy and hypersensitive. These are all indications that your child is a sensitive one. You must also encourage this child to do more, to develop the skills that he or she has, so that he or she can also, be best at what he or she is doing. And when people try to talk him or her down, she's shy, he's shy, he doesn't want to be seen in social gatherings, he's always hiding away from social responsibilities, doesn't want to be seen with peers group displaying talent that he or she has. She is good at this, he is good at that, but doesn't want to display it when it comes to social gatherings. You must also encourage the child to do more, to be best at what he or she is doing, and tell people who are complaining about this the best way that you as a parent uses in handling this child, so you can also follow suit and help this child be the best at what he or she can do. Hoping. Hope we are still. Now we've looked at, we've looked at the fun-loving children, how to handle them. We've also looked at the sensitive children. Now let's look at the determined child. If you have a child who is always determined, how do you connect to a child who is so determined? The child connects to the world physically. The child is active, strong, energetic, always being part of what is happening, wants to be seen, in gatherings, displays a lot of energy, excited about nature activities, physical activities. So when you have a child who's energetic, a child who is super strong, wants to be seen in social gatherings, wants to display a very great ton of energy, wants to showcase his or her talent when it comes to sports or physical activities that require strength and energy, this child is a determined child. A child connects the world physically. How does a child move? The child is always active and determined. If you have a child who is determined, the child connects the world physically through physical activities, energetic, full of actions to anything that concerns display of energy. The child connects the world actively, and the child moves in active manners, is determined. This child needs new experiences with parents' support. If a child is determined, the child desires to have new experiences with the support of the parent, with the support of the siblings, the guidance, whosoever he or she trusts around him or her. The child wants to have new experiences with this individual. Now, how is this determined child described? The child is described as being busy. The child is described as being persistent. The child is described as being energetic. If you have a child who is described as being busy, this is a child. It's always busy. It's always making things happen. Move me. No, child doesn't have any dull moment of any kind. This child is then a determined child. If you have a child who is persistent, perseveres, endures, sees to the end of what he or she wants to achieve until it is done. The child doesn't rest. The child is persistent. This child is determined. If you also have a child who is full of energy, always showing off a great ton of energy, exercising his or herself, is good at physical activities, anything that has to do with energy, skills in times of sport and display of energy or strength, is very good, is very agile. This child is also a determined child. Now, how is this child described? As busy, persistent, energetic. How do you judge these children? You judge these children as pushy. Child doesn't stop, pushes forward until he or she achieves what he wants to achieve. The child is demanding. The child is always, because the child wants to always have new experiences, wants to experience new things, lots of adventures. This child always demands to be out with you, to go to new places, have fun, be with you, connect with parents, and have so much new experiences. Now, people misjudge these children who are determined as being loud. This is the nature of this child. You only have a role to play in controlling, harnessing, helping this child use this strength, this energy, channeling it to the right direction, helping this child using this energy to bring something perfect out, or make something perfect out of his or her life. Do not cancel it. They'll call this, but you're so loud, try to quiet, try to steal or bring or put this strength down. It will not help this child grow into the successful adult that you want. You must be cooperative with this child. Ensure that you support the child, directing the energy, the effort that he or she has to something. You can even create a good or help the child discover the great sport that he or she loves to do, so that this child can use this energy that he or she has, channeling it to the sport, and grow more energy that he will sustain him or her in the long run. Hope you're learning something from what we are doing. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are joining us from. And you leave a comment that we may know that you are part of us and give you a shout out. Now, we have someone else joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Wherever you are joining us from, do leave a comment so I can give you a shout out and recognize your presence. Also, leave a comment so you can make this section very interactive. We're looking at how to raise a happy, successful, and cooperative child. We look at the first point, which is to identify the way your child speaks to you, find the way your child lists the ideas and challenges known to you. Every child is unique. Every child has a way he or her expresses the challenges that he or she faces, the ideas, the thought. You must discover this and pay a good attention and give great concern, give great attention to this. The next thing that we are looking at now is to discover the true nature of your child. We look at the sensitive child. How do you discover that your child is sensitive? We have children who are highly sensitive. We have children who are super determined. We have the more serious children, and we also have the fun-loving children. So we are so excited to have you joining us. The next thing, the next point that we're looking at now is the more serious children. This is the part that you must pay attention to so that you do not misjudge this child and begin to lay false effort on the child. Now, how does a serious child connect to the world? The serious child connects intellectually. These children have kind of high intellectual quotient. They are so smart. They know things that you may not really know, that they are already aware of. They are so enlightened. They go ahead of time to learn things even beyond their time and ages. So you must notice the kind of child you have, how this child connects the world. The child connects the world intellectually. How does a child move? A child who is serious moves straightforward and exact, knows what he or she wants, does not beat about the bush, is not confused about what he or she wants, knows the right choice to make even in the midst of abundance. Normally choice is difficult in the midst of abundance, but when you have a more serious child, the child knows the right choice to make, is not confused, cannot be overturned or talked to making another choice. The child knows what best he or she wants. So you must identify this child you have, what is the true nature of this child. Now, what is the primary need of this child? The primary need of a serious child is respect. That wants to give you respect and wants to also receive this respect. In return, you must respect the little needs of your children, help them achieve their goals, the ones that are necessary and right, so that they do not end up living, complaining, grumbling, and being, full of tantrum. Now, how do people describe a serious child? They say the child is efficient, analytical, and thorough. Have a child who is serious. Child is always efficient and always analyzing situations. Knows when things should be done, how things should be done, who should do what he or she needs to be done, and the end product that is expected of these actions. Child is thorough, does things critically, is very smart, knows what to do, follows instructions, pays attention to details, does the right things at the right time. Now, this child is judged as being critical. When you have a serious child, the child is judged as being critical, and sometimes people misinterpret these children to be know-it-all. They are so smart. Before you even say something, they already know what's coming. They know how to come into conclusion of things that are not yet concluded. They know what to expect of a situation. They know the end result of things that are happening already. These are all the attributes of a child who is so determined, so serious, and knows the things to come. Okay, you must be able to identify. We've looked at the types of nature of our kids. Start looking at the fun-loving children. How do we identify these children? Also looked at sensitive children, how they connect to the world, how you identify them. Also looked at the determined children. If you have a child who is determined, how does the child connect to the world physically? That is active and determined. Okay, a child wants to have new experiences, adventures with the children, and fun-loving. We also now looked at the more serious children. Now, after you must have identified the way they speak to you, you've also identified the way or the nature of this child. The next thing to do is to interpret the complaint they are giving to you. When the children talk to you, they talk to you in several ways that they can. You must be able to identify what they are saying to you and how they are saying it. When you do not identify this, then you give the wrong attention, you do the wrong things, and the children end up not being happy at all. Okay, now, Okay, now if you have a fun-loving child, if your child is fun-loving, how do you interpret the complaint that he or she is giving to you? Now you must look at these things from this point. Does your child feel controlled? Is your child feeling that you are always there every time, directing, instructing, patterning? Are you the one talking about, always giving the schedule for the day? After this, you do this, followed by this, then this, and that. This child is feeling controlled, feeling harnessed. This is the way to interpret the complaint the child is giving you. As a child has too much time alone, is this child craving for family time together? Is this child craving for togetherness, for reunion, for one-on-one time with you? Have you left this child alone for so long? Is this child craving for time with you, fun time with you, play time with you, bond time with you, having good time with you? You must be able to identify the complaint that your children give you. If, for example, you have a fun-loving child, you identify how the child is, then is something too serious that needs urgent attention in the life of this child. These are all things that you must put into consideration. If, for example, you have a fun-loving child, now what is the solution to all of these things? How can you make a change? The first thing to do is to surprise your child by facilitating friendship and having fun together. Make it a surprise. Put a change of attitude. Change your schedule. Fix time when you can have a one-on-one time with your child. Create oneness, create bond, friendship, love, play. Discover yourselves. Know the things that you need in your life. What aspect of his or her life does she or she require your help and attention? Create this friendship, create this bond, and have fun together. This is a way to resolve the complaints coming from a fun, loving child. Okay. Now, if you have a sensitive child who is emotional, who is subtle, thoughtful, who wants the feelings to be heard and who wants to connect with you, a child who is tender hearted, mindful, and gentle, you must be able to identify and interpret the complaint that or tantrum that this child is giving you. For example, does your child feel unheard or dismissed? Whenever the child comes to you with complaints, with thoughts, things that matter to him or her, do you silence this child? Do you shut this child up? Do you wave it aside and keep it for later? And at the end of the day, you end up not paying attention to all of this. If you are doing this, this child feels unheard, this child feels dismissed, or have you been ignoring this child's plan? You put up a plan together to go somewhere, to have fun together, adventure, find or discover new things in the nature, take a walk together, have fun, play time, and then later on you come up with another plan, or you totally decide to ignore the plan that you both have made together. Or is something so intense, emotionally intense in the life of this child? If these are all the case of a sensitive child, what you need to do is to reassure this child. Make out time to reassure the child that you are always there, and fix time that you both can have together to understand each other and to have fun together. Now give time to relax. Most times we are so busy making schedules with others and not putting our children into the plan. You must create time, maybe at weekends, so they can spend one-on-one time with your children. So do you discover them, know exactly who they are, where they require help in their life, the challenges they are facing, and attend to one or two things in their life to help them grow into happy, successful, and cooperative adults, now you must connect with them in these times where you reassure, in these times where you give time to relax. It's also time to connect in friendship, in reunion, in bond happiness with one another, so you can help this child grow emotionally into healthy adults. Now, the next thing to do, if you have a determined child, a child who connects the world actively, a child who is energetic, strong, shows a great display of ton of energy, is very active and determined, a child who is always described as busy and persistent, loves to have new experiences with parents, support, is pushy, demanding, and sometimes misinterpreted as being loud. How do you connect to this child? Sometimes the child feels or thinks that he or she lacks enough physical athletes. Thank you, Hussein and Ifa, for joining this live stream. Thank you so much. You are highly welcome. We're looking at how to raise a successful, happy, cooperative child. Okay, now if you have a determined child, a child who connects the world through physical activities, is so strong, energetic, active, shows a great ton of energy. Now, this child may be showing lack of physical athletes. This is a way the child shows off or displays the complaints, the challenges that he or she may pass in. This child may be showing that he or she doesn't have enough athlete to exercise her energy, to use the strength that he or she has. What you do is to create a time where the child can go or partake in one or two activities based on the child's age and strength, so the child puts this energy that he or she has into good use. Okay, when the child needs a place to display this great ton of energy, you must not let this child lie and keep these things too low. Help this child to find a place where he or she can fix this energy and do the right things. Okay, is the child being told no too often? A lot of times you and the child have made plans together and then come up suddenly to make new plans, telling this child that you have other things coming up, or that you are not longer going to be available in the time that you both have scheduled together. This child may feel lonely. This child may feel bad. You should be able to always make it up to this child. If you are canceling the appointment that you both have, do not say no. You can always make it up, or try to adjust your schedules, putting your child in plans. Try to do weekends to spend one-on-one time. One-on-one time is when we bond with our children. It is when we have fun together, when we identify the challenges that they have, when we find out where to help the role that we are supposed to play that we are not, the complaints that they have, and be part of their life, helping them grow emotionally, physically, mentally, and nurture them into great adults. If you do not have one-on-one time with your children, you may not discover the best part of them, and they may be getting the outside. The part of it that is not really great is that if you fail to give your child attention, you fail to give your child time, they may be getting this required attention from somewhere else, and by the time you discover this, you want to make a correction, be part of their life once more. It may be too late. They must have gone to a level where they no longer pay attention or get instructions from you. So you must start early. You must do the best you can when you can to be part of their life, directing them and always being there to help them grow into successful adults, so that when they grow into adults, you will not have anything to regret. Most times we keep the children in the hands of caretakers. We go about our daily activities, face a lot of appointments, meet from friends to friends, from week to week. Weekends, you're so busy. You sometimes say you're making money to raise them into happy children, but at the end of the day, if you do not give them time, even when you can at weekends, if they grow outside, get their ideas from outside, from friends outside, from peer groups, and they grow into adults that you may not like. Now you've lost your children. Now the money you have will not even bring you joy. So you must find out time. You find a balance, a ground where you can balance these two things. While you're making your money, facing your life, you're facing your career, growing your life too. You must also make out time to grow these children. So at the end of the day, you both are happy. Without these children, be the best that you can when you can. There's an age where the children can always listen to you. They can always take advice from you. They always pay attention to what you're saying. They listen and they take correction. If you do not play a role in their life, then when they've gone to some kind of maturity, they now take advice from others, or they decide on their own from what you said. It is going to be a more challenging time for you to do what you should have done when they were a little bit younger. It's why we are bringing these classes teaching, so you learn now and start early. Now, if you have a damaged child, are you being so stiff with this child? The child may be complaining. The child is being unexposed. The child is having a tight schedule. The child is so. Remember that we said that a damaged child is full of energy, it's full of strength, wants a place, an outlet to display a great ton of energy that he or she has. So when the child feels caged, when the child feels tied down, when the child feels that he doesn't have enough outlet to display the energy that he or she has, the child may not be really happy. You must help this child who has this great kind of energy to find the kind of sport or the skill that he or she can channel this energy into to make better use of it. So the child doesn't waste or lay low or use energy in perfection of the wrong things. So find an activity that is good for him or her according to her age and strength, and let the child always in the spare time use this energy that he or she has to perfect in that area and be the best that he or she can. Do not let the child lay about using this energy to make things wrong or spoil things in the house. Now, you should also encourage the child, support the child, help the child to move and discover new adventures, because this child is fun-loving, wants to meet new people, discover new things, go to places where he or she has not been, to learn things from nature, discover these new things together with the child. Do not say no, do not keep this child tied or to a corner where the child feels that he doesn't have enough space to use this energy that he or she has. The child begins to complain. Now, if you have a more serious child, a child who is intelligent, very calculative, straightforward, respect, is very efficient and thorough. If you have a child like this and the child is complaining, giving tantrums, how do you identify these challenges that the child has? Maybe the child needs to feel more respect and heard. The child is coming to you once in a while, talk about some things, and you're saying it doesn't matter, you can always put up, there's always a way out, don't worry, things will get better on its own with time, things will be all right. You're not giving great attention, you're not asking for more details, you're not looking for ways to resolve the challenges the child is having. The child feels that you're not hearing him or her out and may take this complaint outside somewhere else, where he or she may end up receiving the wrong advice. This is the part of it that doesn't sound well. You must be there, giving listening ears, being the best that you can, so that when it's time to play a role in the life of this child, you will always be the one to do this. If you fail to play this role, this child can get it from somewhere else, getting the wrong advice, doesn't know how to assess things to know when it's right or wrong, put this into practice and begins to carry out the wrong things. The wrong things begins to happen in the life of this child. Then you may not be able to play that role anymore. It is now late. You must start early. Does your child need more focused time? Does your child need more time to reflect? If you have a more serious child, the child may be needing time to reflect. The child needs more time to focus. You must channel this child's energy. You must help the child to pattern the life schedule, the lifestyle. This is the time for reading, this is the time for playing, this is the time to do these things the way they should be done. So when you do this for this child, everything comes into place. Things are done the way they should be done. And you see this child living the best that the child can. Another thing that you can Discover from the complaints of your child if the child is serious, is something happening in this child's life is so embarrassing. This child who is highly intelligent, this child who is very efficient, very thorough, respectful, okay, being, calculative in what he or she doing, may easily face times in life when he or she begins to see that situations are so embarrassing for him or her. If you are available, this is what you should be available all the time. You will pick out these times, resolve these things, not let it escalate to the point to where the child begins to enjoy the embarrassing moments. A lot of things have happened where children do not know how to fix out things, do not know what is wrong from what is right, and they think that what is happening is the right thing. They follow suit and end up the wrong way. This is what we mean by embarrassing moments. You must be able to ensure that you are there to harness things when they try to go sour, when they try to go out of plans. If you are far away, if you're not always paying attention, things will really go wrong. Excuse me. Hope that to this point we've learned something and we're still learning something. If you have some questions based on what we said so far, do well to leave it here so that we can see it and attend to it, to make this class more conversative, make this class more fun and interactive. Okay, we said that our topic is how to raise a happy, successful, and cooperative child. The first thing we looked at, now we're going to summary, is that every child is unique. The children you have passed their ideas, their thoughts, through different behavioral patterns to come through complaining when they have challenges and all that. You must be able to identify the uniqueness of this child and know how to handle this child best. The next thing to identify is the true nature of your child. We have a lot of children with different natures. We start looking at the fun-loving children. We also have determined children. We also have the sensitive children, and the ones that are called serious children. If you have a fun-loving child, the child connects the world socially. The child wants to be seen in several social gatherings, wants to enjoy the affluence or the idea of being in the face of a lot of people, wants to be seen, display the talent that he or she has. The child is bouncy and random, it's not quiet, one doesn't keep away. Child wants to have fun and wants to have parents who are happy and excited about life. The child may be judged as hyperactive. Child is always happy and fine. The child is sometimes misinterpreted as not reliable, but the child is very reliable. When you saw this child and you play the role you're supposed to play in the life of the child. Talked about the sensitive child who is always emotional, knows when things are going wrong in the family or in the environment where he or she finds herself, knows when things are not being the right way. This child connects the world emotionally. The primary movement is subtle and thoughtful. Child is so calculative, knows what to do to suit or to meet the emotional demand of the people around him or her. Child wants the feelings to be heard, wants to connect, and is described as being gentle, tender-hearted. Okay, sometimes people judge these children who are sensitive as being shy and wimpy. Some also say that they are hypersensitive. You can also have a child who is determined. The child connects the world physically, is full of energy, so agile, has a great ton of energy to display. Child wants to have new experiences with the support of parents. The child also is busy and persistent. Child is energetic and pushy. Child demands. Sometimes people misinterpret these children as being loud. Okay. Then the thought that we have is the more serious children. Children who are highly intelligent. They are smart, educative. They also are straightforward. These children are described as being respectful, They want to be heard. A lot of times they are also called critical. Then we've also looked at the complaints that children give. How does your child give the complaints? Okay, if you have a sensitive child, is the child complaining, does he feel control, left alone, also have one-on-one time with you, also have time or place to display the greater energy of physical athlete, needs to discover new places, wants to meet new people, have new adventure, wants to learn new things, have one-on-one time with you. What should you do? Make friendship with this child, bond time, connect with this child and relax together. Okay, encourage your child, let them move and let them have adventure. If you have children who are so adventurous, you can also respect their authority, give them a healthy support structure, and focus when you are listening. Sometimes we are listening and our attentions are not really there with them. They also know you must be able to focus and pay great attention, great deal of attention when you are listening to the children. After you must have done all of these things, the last thing that we have for today is that you enjoy the joy and peace that you have with these children. Enjoy this joy, enjoy this peace that you have with these children, and make it last. How do you make it last? Support it. Create a great support system, making sure that these things are perfected, that they are brought to the level where they do not quench or die off. Continue in the great state that you are, creating family time, bond time, listening, paying great attention where you should, helping them, nurturing them the right way, mentally, physically, emotionally, and otherwise, so you can end up having great adults. Because when you do not do this, if you allow the children go out there to get this attention that they require from you, or get advice that they require from you, they may be getting the wrong ones, and if they are not able to discern the one that's right, which way to follow, they do the wrong things, start living their life wrong way, and by the time you discover this and come to correct this, it might be late. They may not be listening to you anymore, and things may have gone south. Then this is all that we have for today concerning this topic. Hope you learned something great, because I did. I had fun. Thank you to everyone who joined this section and made this time great for us. I hope to see you when next I have my live. I'll be having this live every weekend, Friday or Saturday. So whenever you get this notification, try to be part of it. Okay. Also, be sure to watch these things or to play them back to learn what you missed out whenever you get the time to. Remember that the channel will discuss all about wellness, give wellness tips. We'll also discuss things that will help you live a healthy lifestyle. We talk about Germany information concerning Germany, family reunion, visa, traveling, education, business, holidays, and all that. So whatever you need, you should be part of this family. Subscribe. Touch the subscribe button down as you're watching this video, but make it a full video, and you see the subscribe button, you just click and subscribe. Very easy, it doesn't cost a thing. Also turn the notification there on, so you'll be aware whenever I post videos, so you get notifications whenever I'm going live too. And if you have concerns, you have questions to ask, also leave in the comment section. Give your questions there. I'll come back to it. If you want me to make a video concerning any topic, so leave it there and I'll come back to it to reply to you. Okay, until my next video, do not forget to share this video with your family, your friends, your loved ones who are so close to you, or just share it in your social media platforms so people can learn from these tips and do better and raise children who will make society proud at last. Until then, until my next video or live, I will see you then. Bye.